YouTube, what's good, y'all boys? I'm back again with another video. This video will be a little bit different from the other videos that I do. I wanted to do a Q&A. I know you guys have a lot of questions that you guys want to ask me on Instagram, on YouTube about my journey, my experience with business, trading, whatever it is. I made a poll on my Instagram for you guys yesterday. I asked you guys, just ask me any questions and I'll answer them on a YouTube video. I want to give you guys as much thoughts as possible, so I'll be answering them and let's get straight into it. First question is from Ryan on the spot. He said, how long did it take you to get good at day trading? Honestly, I still feel like I'm still getting better as a trader over time. Even when I became profitable back in November, all the way until now, I feel like I've improved 2x, 3x from where I was at when I even became a profitable day trader in the first place. But for those of you guys who don't know, I've been trading since February of 2025, so a little bit over a year now, and I became profitable in 9 months. So, statistically, I probably became a good trader when I became profitable. But in my opinion, I equate being a good trader to the inputs you put on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like I'm just now becoming like almost a 2.0 version trader, the trader version of myself that I've always dreamed of, because now I have a specific morning routine. I have a post-market routine, pre-market routine. I have a strict schedule on a day-to-day basis. I'm leveraging my business to fund my trading to fund my business. I'm also in the gym consistently, making content consistently. Doing all those things inevitably is what helps you become a profitable day trader. And in my eyes, that is exactly what I'm doing now. And so I would say that it took me about a year, honestly, like rough estimate, about a year to actually become a good day trader. And yes, I became profitable before that, but I'm saying as far as my inputs aligning with my outputs, because when I became profitable, yes, I was still doing those things, but I wasn't as consistent as a trader. I wasn't locking my risk settings every single time. I wasn't putting discipline outside of the charts into my business and other aspects of other things. So now it feels like I'm just now becoming a good trader. And yeah, so I would say about a year to become a good trader. Second question is from Terry1K. He said, do you see yourself stopping trading when you hit a certain net worth, or are you gonna do this shit for life? So honestly, trading is one of those skill sets that I feel like once you develop it and once you learn trading and you honestly mastered consistent profitability, it's something that you can sustain for a lifetime. There's traders that I've seen that have been trading for 20 years, and there's also traders that I've seen that have been trading for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So it really just depends on how long you stick to it. I feel like, again, with business, because I run a business as well since I was 16, which I'll get into a little bit later, but sticking to something for a long enough time is how you inevitably master it and how you get to those results over a longer period of time. So for me, it's something that I want to do for life, yes, because again, it gives me location freedom, time freedom, money freedom, all these different aspects that trading gives you that no other skill set in the world does. With that, I would say that yes, I want to do this for life. I don't really have like a set timeline on how long I want to be trading for. I also am an entrepreneur as well, so I do make content, I am in school, and I do have a business. So all those other three things preoccupy a majority of my day, which keeps me off of the charts and keeps day trading to a minimum. So in my eyes, it's like if I can build a business and still trade in the mornings and still apply the same discipline that I put into trading into the rest of my life, then inevitably I will continue to progress as a person over time. And so honestly, that is the end goal, is to continue sticking to trading, continue scaling up, and continue leveraging the money that I'm making from trading to inevitably scale that up, put that into a business, and actually build real equity within something that's gonna make me money long term, and that's gonna basically feed generations after me and continue the legacy that my parents have built for me and for my siblings as well. So yes, I do think that I will trade for the rest of my life. I mastered it in a year, so what makes you think, I won't be a better trader 10 years from now? You know what I'm saying? The next question is from trades.naz. He said, what do you do about nerves when you enter for beginners? So if you're a beginner and you're struggling with like nerves to enter a trade, number one, it comes down to really a few things, because I was the same way as well. Number one, you haven't got enough reps with your system, meaning you either haven't back tested enough or you haven't forward tested / lab tested enough. So if you haven't back tested enough, the only way to do it is literally just do more back testing. Putting more time into back testing your system, and when you're back testing, generally what you're doing good, what you're doing wrong, your takeaways, and then implementing that into the live market. If you do back test and you're still scared, of taking executions, the two ways you can go about it is number one, size down, so you can consistently minimize your risk, but see if your system plays out in a profitable manner over time. So that way you're not putting as much fear into one execution. Because the thing is, for me, the scariest trades that I'm in and the trades that I actually feel like nervous in, either entering or while I'm in, is usually when I'm breaking my rules or when I'm sized too high. or if the market is very volatile. But usually when I'm breaking my rules or if I size too high. So a lot of those times you can just, number one, follow your system, because if you follow your system, you're not going to really have those nerves because you're just executing on the system regardless of the outcome. Number two is just going to be to size down. So if you have bad psych, if you know you can't handle the amount of money that you're putting on the table as far as risk, then size down to 5 cons, 2 cons, whatever it is, micros. And from there, you can see if your system's going to be profitable over a longer amount of time, and then slowly size up as you build a buffer with that account. Another way I would also beat this, fear of entering trades is go demo trade for a little bit, especially if you're a beginner. Demo trade. People always put a bad connotation on demo trading. I don't think demo trading is bad at all. I demo traded as well, not for too long, but I would recommend demo trading, because what demo trading will do is you're still getting the live reps in the live market, but there's no risk on the table. So the thing with demo trading is that a lot of people get caught up in just taking bullshit executions. You should still treat demo trading as if you're on a prop firm, as if you're on an eval or a funded account, because the reason is you want to apply those same habits that you do on the demo trading, take that into the eval and just rinse and repeat the method. The thing is, if you're on demo and you're taking bad executions on demo, stupid executions on demo that you wouldn't take on the real world, you feel me? Then what makes you think you're not going to take stupid trades when you get on an eval or get on a funded? So to answer your question, number one, demo trading if you haven't had enough system reps. Number two, backtest will help you so much. I backtest every single day, even to this point. And number three will be to size down your contract size, so that way you don't have as much fear entering the trade. That way you can, allocate enough trades and enough reps in the system and not allocate too much risk on the table while you're doing that. Next question is by A Beans. This is my boy Beans. He said, have you ever celebrated hitting TP by ejaculating? Nigga, that shit gay as fuck. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna just skip over that shit. Question is by Ovi.QUI9. You said, did you make any profit in your first trade and how much was it? Honestly, I don't even remember what my first trade was. I'm gonna keep it old bean. I really do not remember what my first trade was. But it obviously worked out until now. I'm gonna keep it very short and simple. I don't remember what my first trade was, but I do remember the first time getting on the markets and it being literally looked like I was fucking doing rocket science, bro. I didn't understand what the fuck a candle was, what the fuck trend was, any of that shit. So yes, that shit was confusing, but as far as profits made in my first trade, I don't know. And I was also probably demo trading. So the next question is by One Slide Son. You said, when you first started your pressure washing business, what were the ups and downs? So for those of you guys who don't know, I actually came up off of pressure washing, but content-wise, I came up off of trading. What I mean by that is I've actually been doing a pressure washing business since I was 16 years old. I started while I was in high school, and I was literally doing pressure washing work before school, skipping school to go do pressure washing work, and then going to do pressure washing work after school, and then going to track practice. So since I was literally in high school, my junior year, I've literally been a fucking hustler. Anybody that's been following my journey from back then, or anybody that went to school with me can vouch for this, but I've literally been grinding since I was in high school, bro. Like the shit y'all see me doing now, I've been doing it for years. You feel me? But anyways, as far as ups and downs, I would say the main down within pressure washing is the beginning, because the beginning, you're gonna feel like you're overloading yourself with a lot of information. You're not really gonna understand what you're doing or how to, scale up your business in that realm. And then as far as the ups, I would say, the ups is really just making your first couple bucks, bro. Because when you start making money with pressure washing and you start seeing that this shit's real, and you start, getting clients, getting consistent, getting money coming in, reinvesting into the business, when you start getting that ball rolling, you start to understand that this shit's actually real. You feel me? So the worst thing that you can do right there is compare your journey to others. It's the same way as trading, you feel me? Same aspect. But when you start comparing your journey to others and you start pivoting directions from what's working, that's when you slow yourself down within business, within trading, within pressure washing, whatever it is, you feel me? So main downs is really just the beginning, because it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very difficult to get the boots off the ground. You're going to deal with a lot of bullshit, like equipment issues, customer issues, financing issues, just so much bullshit you're going to deal with. But the beauty about it is that if you can push through all those things, then inevitably you will get to where you want to get to over time. And that's the same principle as trading is, for real. And that's why I think that I became profitable so quick, is because I was already doing business before trading. So when I started trading, all I simply had to do was just apply the same principles that I had within my business into my trading journey. Inevitably, that's what turned me profitable. So next question is from Irma.LLH. You said how to on discipline. So I'm assuming you're saying how to be more disciplined. As far as how to be more disciplined, that's a really good question. I would say that it really comes down to structure and routine. So like the thing is, if you try to brute force your way through every single day by like sheer force discipline, you're gonna burn yourself out. The easiest way that I've became disciplined is by quite literally using Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar, I mark out what I'm doing from the time that I'm awake to the time that I'm sleeping, and I just follow that. You know what I'm saying? So if I know that, okay, I have school from, let's say I have school from 9 to 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. my fault. And let's say I have to hit the gym from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I have about 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. of free time. What am I going to do in that free time? All right, I'm going to back test for 2 hours and I'm going to trade for 2 hours. Okay, boom, those 2 hours out the day. After that, I'm going to do my chores. I'm going to clean, I'm going to shower, whatever it is. You feel me? So like when you break down your days into that simple of a manner, it's going to help you so much. I recommend using Google Calendar because you can block off different time sections of your day. And you don't have to like, you know, put, okay, this time to this time I'm doing this. You know, for me, I do that, but you can put time blocks now when you're in Google Calendar, which makes it very easy to have that lenience within your day. And then after you start building that routine, the best thing that you can do is just continuously apply consistency. So when you have a good day, 2 good days, 3 good days, stay on momentum. I'm a very big believer in momentum. Even for now, right? My parents, they want to take a trip to Seattle. I told them straight up, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to Seattle. I'm not gonna take a trip right now. Why would I not take a trip right now, right? Because I have momentum right now. Right now, I have been on the best pace trading wise, financially, whatever you guys want to say. I've been on the best pace in my life as of recent. So right now, the worst thing that I can do is take a vacation and take a step back from that momentum that I have, and it's gonna slow me down in the long run. So momentum will help you so much. And when you start building that momentum, stick to the momentum and stay disciplined to that momentum over time through using the calendar and also building a relationship with God. God has helped me a lot with instilling discipline, ask God for strength, ask God for clarity, ask God for forgiveness in the things that you've done in your life. And inevitably, if you follow him and his process and you trust in his journey, have the faith in his process and his journey for you, then inevitably you will get to where you want to get to. Next question is from Isaiah. You said, what are some of the most difficult things you faced when you took the risk and moved to Florida? So again, another really, really good question. For those of you guys who don't know, I'll link the video above, but I moved to Florida when I turned 18 years old. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri, flew 1,000 miles away when I turned 18 after I finished my first year of college to move to Florida. Now, the reason I moved to Florida was simply to put myself in a new environment. I know that at 18 years old, it becomes a make or break for a lot of people's lives. From 18 till about 25 to 30 years old, those are the foundation years of your life. Because before 18, you're in high school, you can fuck around, whatever it is, you feel me? But once you hit 30 and up, bro, like whatever you're doing, bro, it's gonna be a lot harder to get your life back on track after 30 years old, you feel me? If you have kids, whatever it is, you're financially in debt or whatever. So I understood that, and at 18 years old, having the business already since the time I was 16, I know that if I move to Florida and I want to, scale up the business I'm doing now, I'm gonna have a higher chance of doing that in a warm weather state like Florida. Even though Florida is very saturated for the business that I moved here for, I know that I was gonna put myself around like-minded individuals, put myself against the wall, which inevitably was gonna help me get to where I wanna get to. And that in return is what helped me get to the position you guys see me in now. Being a content creator, being in the gym, being in school, having trading, having my business, whatever it is. That is what put me into this position because I took the risk on myself. I took the chance on myself and I bet on myself against all odds. Now, as far as what was the scariest and the most difficult thing when I moved here was really the beginning. Now that I'm 2 years in now, I've had a little bit more reps. I've got a little bit more familiar with the area. It's not as new to me anymore as it was when I first moved here. So the thing is, it's gonna be before moving and then when you move is gonna be the hardest point because before you move, especially when you tell other people like your family and stuff, there's going to be backlash. People are going to be like, yo, why are you doing this? Why are you moving away? Just stay with us. They want you to stay comfortable. Everybody that's in your hometown right now, they're going to want you to stay comfortable. They're going to want you to stay in the same place you are because it's the comfortable thing that they know. And when you branch out and you do the uncomfortable thing, a lot of people push bad, negative things onto you. So again, luckily my parents, they believed in me. They've seen me build a business for years on end. So they trusted my vision and trusted my process. And so they let me do it. But a lot of other people's parents, they might not support, you guys doing that. So really it's going to be the backlash and the feedback you'll get when you want to make that move and change your hometown, change your environment, whatever it is. And number two is going to be when you first get there as well. Because when I first got here, it was very fucking hard. I was paying rent for the first time in my life. I had to get a job for the first time in my life. I was on my own for the first time in my life and I was financially independent. I didn't have my parents to depend on. I didn't have anybody to depend on but myself. So when I understood that And when I got here, it literally fucking forced me to work my ass off because I had no other choice. So literally since the time I've been in Florida until literally right now, I've had to be the most disciplined and focused version of myself that I can be to get to where I want to get to. And that's the beauty about changing your environment, because it changes you as a person from the inside out. And then also the beauty about it is that people will recognize you for where you are now and not who you were. So all the mistakes that you made in your hometown, the identity you had in your hometown, that all gets dropped, and you can make a new identity when you move to a new area, because people meet you for who you are at that moment, not from the past. Nobody knows me from the past. Nobody will know you from the past, you feel me? Unless, they grew up in your hometown or whatever, you grew up with them. But as far as like when you do make that move, you can change your identity. And that is the beauty about moving on your own. But for sure, I would say it's gonna be the financial part that's gonna be the hardest part, and also putting your back against the wall and being on your own for the first time, in the world. Shit like fucking doing the laundry or getting groceries or handling car payments or car maintenance or whatever it is, like simple shit that maybe your parents have helped you out with before, you're going to have to deal with those problems now because you are independent, you are on your own. But again, I recommend moving out as quickly as you can, because even if you're not in the right position, it's going to force you to work, it's going to force you to elevate, and it's going to put you into the right mindset to then inevitably get to where you want to get to. The next question is from Brandon, or Bray3DON, but just probably Brandon. You said, what is more successful, your trading or your other businesses? So again, like I said earlier, I run an exterior cleaning company. I actually have started doing outdoor permanent lights, as it is a lot more money in that as well. And I subcontract out all my work. So for those of you guys who, watch me for some time, I came up off of pressure washing. Even when I moved to Florida, I was doing pressure washing content. If you scroll down to my old videos or look at my business page, you'll see. But as of recent, I ran up Christmas lights, and I also ran up putting up outdoor permanent LED lights. If you're not familiar with them, I'll put a picture right here as well. And then alongside me doing that, I came across trading from, somebody in my DMs who was pitching me on some type of bullshit pyramid scheme. That's how I figured out about it. And from there, I took it and ran with it. So as far as which one is more successful to this point, honestly, I would say trading makes me more money from payouts and from also helping my students. But I still have my business as another source of income. The reason my business isn't above my trading now is because I put a lot more time into trading within the last year to scale that up and to get to a point now where I can even out the playing field on both. So now I'm in the position of my life to where I understand trading, I have a system within trading, and it's just for me to continuously follow my system every day. And inevitably, I make money. I pull payouts. You guys see my payouts. You guys see my success within trading relatively quickly. So now that I've got to that point, now I can put a little bit more time into my business, because now I no longer have to learn about fucking market structure, candles and shit like that. You feel me? Now it's just for me to backtest, journal, reflect, follow my system, and repeat. And then the rest of my day, I just put it towards my business. So now I'm focusing a lot more on my business. Within the next year, honestly, I think my business will be doing a lot better than trading, or at least neck and neck. My goal is to have them both come up, on the same playing field, and, get to 100K months, relatively soon, ideally by the end of the year. So that is my goal. That is what I want to achieve. And ideally, I use my trading to fund my business, and I use my business to fund my trading. So I make money from my business that will pay for, evaluation accounts, that will pay for my trade copy, that will pay for TradingView, whatever I utilize for trading, or new setup, new mouse, whatever it is. And then I use trading, my profits that I make from trading, my payouts that I get, to then go fund it into my business, whether it's equipment, whether it's managing, whether it's branding, whether it's investing into marketing like yard signs or ads or whatever it is. That is how I'm currently running my finances right now, to scale up both at the same time, you feel me? Because again, trading is minimal time once you've kind of got the system down, and business takes a lot of time. The more time you put into it, the higher you could scale up within a relatively quicker amount of time. So for me, the equity part is the business, and the cash flow part is trading. And so I kind of use both neck and neck. But to answer your question, I'll for sure say trading as of now is the most successful one. But in the long term, it'll probably be really, really close. I really honestly couldn't tell you until, down the line. Hater Dablas, you said, how to deal with finally starting to see some results and the mindset. So when you start seeing results, right? When you start seeing results within your life, within the inputs that you're putting in, the main thing that's going to change is, like you said, your mindset, because now you're going to start to believe that bigger things are achievable that maybe everyone else around you doesn't do. So again, the same analogy with the hometown situation, your mindset would be the first thing to change. When you start making money, you're going to realize that a lot of people around you don't have the same vision and the same mindset as you do. So the best thing that you can do to, actually start getting results is to start aligning yourself with people who are also getting results. Because the thing is, if you, let's say, right, I'm a day trader and I become profitable, right? If I start hanging out with people who are unprofitable day traders, no offense to unprofitable day traders, but if I start hanging around with people that are unprofitable day traders, it's going to drag me back, as opposed to if I start hanging around people who are profitable day traders, who are ahead of me as profitable day traders. Let's say I'm making 20K a month from trading and these other guys are making 100K a month. Well, I'd rather go hang out with the guys that make 100K a month, because what? They have the results and I can learn from them, and I'm gonna adapt to their lifestyle and inevitably scale myself up to that point, as opposed to if I was hanging out with people who are making $0 a month from trading, where I'm going to be the best person in the room, and they're going to be asking me questions. I'll obviously be answering, but I'm not going to be progressing myself as a trader, if that makes sense. You feel me? So the best thing you can do when you start getting results is to, number one, obviously you can post results, whatever you're doing, whether it's trading, whatever it is, but to align yourself with people who are like-minded. Align yourself with people who are like-minded will scale you up so much. Even now in my life, when I lived in my hometown of Kansas City, I used to be the type of person to always try to be friends with everybody. I used to be friends with everybody. I used to always talk to everybody. I used to go to functions. I used to do this. I used to do that. I was a people pleaser. But when I started to see results, when I moved to Florida, when I got my first crib, when I got my truck, when I started my business, when I became successful within trading, when all these things started to line into my life, I started to realize that the best thing that I can do is stay narrow vision, and that God will naturally align connections along my journey that are like-minded to me. So in doing that, now the only connections that I hang out with and associate with are people that are like-minded, people that are wanting to become profitable day traders, people that are already profitable day traders, people that are successful within business, people who are grinding within their businesses, you feel me? So I only hang out with hustlers now, as opposed to me a few years ago, where I used to hang out with people who weren't really on that same trajectory, that used to slow me down. So now, again, it's the same aspect that I was talking about earlier, whereas you are who you hang around. You guys have heard that so many times, but it is very, very true. And especially for me being young, I'm only 20 years old, I know that is a key foundation to success within business, within trading, within life in general. So I'm very cautious of the people that I put around me, because that inevitably will tell where I'm going to go within my life. The next question is from 9,000. You said, can you go in depth on placing entries and better entry points? So this video will not be on specifically on the charts. I can answer that on a chart video separately from this. But as far as better entries, what I did is I used to be a 5-minute trader back in October, September of last year. I actually scaled back down to the 1 minute. The reason I like the 1 minute a lot more, even though it's a little bit more volatile, is because I could get quicker entries. So I'd recommend using a lower time frame, like the 30-second or the 1 minute, because you can get a lot quicker entries with higher RR. And then also number two is you need to have a mechanical entry model. So for me, I enter mechanically off of the inverse for value gap, right? If I know that's my entry model, then I'm going to stick to that over time, because inevitably that's going to be my best entry at the same time. Now, from when you actually become, mechanical with your entry, there's certain things you can do to have even better entries. And this is what I teach to my students. And this is what, I'll make a video on as well. But what I do now is let's say you trade inversions, right? I'll wait for the inverse to happen. I'll look if there's a fair value gap right under us. I'll wait for price to retest into the fair value gap. And if we reject out of that fair value gap, we use the 1 minute inverse as confirmation. We use the fair value gap as the entry. So if we tie back into the fair value gap that's under the inversion and we reject to the upside, then I'll enter off of that, because inevitably price shouldn't come back to that point. Price should not come back to that point at that point, because we have the inversion for entry, we have the 1 minute that we're rejecting out of, and we should not come back to that point. So typically I enter while we're rejecting that fair value gap with the 1 minute inversion as the entry. And so that's how I've been able to get better entries. Another thing is I also start to pre-fire some inversions. So if everything aligns with my model, let's say I see something that's A+ and I want to take it, what I do now is I start to pre-fire inversions. So instead of me waiting for the inversion and getting a lower RR, I take the trade before the inverse happens, and then I basically use the confirmation that the trade is valid once we do inverse that play. But again, I don't do it too much. I only use it when I'm very confident in a trade, because again, it is a little bit more riskier to enter before true confirmation into the trade. So those are just two examples. Again, for your model and your system, what will help you is to journal, see your winners, see your losses, see the similarities between the two, and actually do true reflection on how you can improve within specifically your entries. That's another question, 9th you said, is backtesting the only way to train for PA and not keep missing easy/obvious A+ setup? So to answer that question, back testing is the best way to get reps of your model down over a continuous period of time relatively quickly and get a lot of data relatively quickly, right? Because you can get years of data within a few months of like actual back testing, you know, within the real world, you feel me? So you can get a lot of data relatively quickly. But to answer your question about how to train for PA and not miss obvious A+ setups, it comes down to your model, right? So like if your model tells you what A+ setup is, right? And you see the A+ setup and you don't take it, whose fault is that? Is that the chart's fault or is that your fault for not taking that setup? It's your fault. So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what is causing me to not take these A+ setups when they're presenting? Is it fear? Is it lack of discretion? Is it lack of knowledge? Is it lack of trust within yourself? Is it lack of trust within your model? What is it? You have to dig down to the root cause, you feel me? And so what you need to do is you need to actually journal, sit down, journal, see what root cause is causing me to not enter this trade. Literally ask yourself, what is the reason I am not entering A+ setups when they present? Let's say, for your instance, right? I say the reason I'm not entering is because I'm scared that I'm gonna hit stop loss, right? Okay, boom. If you're scared that you're gonna hit stop loss, what things can we do to avoid that? Well, number one, maybe you can go break even a little bit earlier, or maybe you can improve your break even, whether you go break even mechanically or discretionarily. Improve your break even, see where you're going break even at, because when you go break even in the trade, then no emotions are on the table at that point. You feel me? Or at least less emotions are on the table at that point. So see when you can go break even. You feel me? Okay, I'm gonna take my data, see if I go break even here or here, which one statistically works out the best. So again, it really just comes down to you doing self-reflection on your model and seeing what the root cause of the problem that you have. Obviously, the problem right now that you have is missing A+ setups. You have to find the root cause. I don't know the root cause for you right now. But again, the root cause will be solved through journaling and reflection. Once you journal and reflect, you need to take whatever you wrote down right there, go see that on the backtesting market and also in the live market with your journal entries and see how you can adapt and reflect and take the entries. Maybe you need to size down a little bit so you can have a wider stop loss, you feel me? Maybe you need to only take one trade a day. Maybe you need to have less risk on the table, whatever it is, you feel me? You can always do different things within your trading to inevitably help you become better. But it starts with your reflection to, number one, figure out what the problem is and figure out the root cause to overcome that problem. The question I have here is from FBG John. You said, after having payouts, have you blown your expresses? Honestly, I've blown my expresses after payouts many times. A lot of the times it was just fucking stupid. And honestly, that's one of the things I'm working on as a trader, because I can get consistent payouts, but it's sticking to the same account consistently over time. For me, my goal now, because I've ripped, multiple 5 figures in payouts now up to this point within the last few months, now my goal is to just eventually get up to the live account. Because even though a lot of people be like, oh, like you don't want to go live on a prop firm, like going live on a prop firm is bad. The reason I want to get to a live account is because I can prove to myself that I can stay on the same accounts for a specific amount of time and achieve consistent results day in and day out. So when I get to that point, then I'm gonna be happy because I know that I did that. I was able to get 4 or 5 payouts, however long it takes to get moved to live on those specific sets of accounts, which then shows me that if I apply that same mechanism into other prop firms, then inevitably I can scale. And so in my opinion, if you can make it to the live account, then you pretty much made it as a day trader, because you've proved to yourself that you can stay to the same account, same rules, same system over and over and over and over and over again. And then you can just take that system and implement it to another prop firm. So even if you get moved to a live account, you can just go trade copy with another prop firm. You feel me? So that's my goal for this year. Within the next few months, I want to get moved to a live account. And, when that happens, I'll come back to this video and say, I told y'all niggas. You feel me? But yes, I have blown accounts after, getting payouts. The best way that I've avoided it now is, again, just by what I preach, keeping your risk settings locked and sticking to that. A lot of the times when you get a payout, you get a lot of joy, you get a lot of happiness, and you also get a lot of greed. So what will happen is you'll go back onto the account, you'll go back onto the markets, and since you have all that greed boiled up, what you will do is you'll overtrade, you'll overspiral, you'll start to do all the things that you stayed away from to get to that payout in the first place, and you'll blow the account, trying to reach for the next payout. You feel me? So it's, again, just staying slow within the system, sticking to your system, sticking to your rules, and inevitably you will get to that point. You feel me? But that is the last question for the Q&A. This has been a longer form video. Again, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask them below in the comment section. And as always, I love all of you guys. I pray all of you guys may become successful, profitable day traders. I hope that this knowledge may help you guys in one way or another. And again, if you guys want to get into my free Discord, I'll have it linked below, as well as my mentorship program if you guys want to work with me one-on-one. And I'll also have my Instagram link below where you guys can DM me, ask me any questions or whatever. So again, catch you guys in the next video, and I'll see you guys next time.